Gtext land. And next we have Mr. Barry, who is the CEO of Stephen Actel Foundation. And then we have Ms. Bukola Lukon, who is the president of GBS and also the CEO of Gtext Holdings. And in the middle we have our chairman of Gtext Holdings, Dr. Stephen Akintayo. And then we have our GD in terms of sales for Gtext Holdings, Mrs. Vivian Amechi. And my name is Farouk Usman, I'm CEO of Gtext Homes, and also I handle our corporate brand image.
Thank you, Mr. Farouk. Okay, so one thing I'm excited for to be here is because Gtext Holdings is 16. I don't know if anybody's excited as excited as I am. I think if anybody knows this brand well, I think I would say that I know this brand. I've known this brand. I've followed this brand for a long time. I've been a part of this brand for a long time. And the fact that we are saying 16 years as a company is something to celebrate. But before I tell us about the things that we can expect, I'll invite Dr. Stephen himself, the Odogu himself, to come and tell us what it has been like for the past 16 years and what the future is like going forward.
Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your presence and welcome to Gtext. First of all, I want to thank God Almighty for keeping us alive to see today. Ours is a story of a very, very humble beginning. Very humble beginning. We started in a very humble way. I still remember, and just like my media aide said, she also used to come to that particular one-room apartment in Olabisi Onabanjo University. It was my room, but it was my office, Our first employee, or full-time employee, because a lot of them used to come work for me partly. But our first full-time employee was a guy who was doing COS 3 months, and he didn't want to leave Agowe. So he would resume in the morning in that 12 by 15 feet room apartment, and then send him on errands, and then he would close, I think, 4 p.m., go home. But right from there, I was sure that we had a great future. And that was why we registered the company. So our first company registration was, if I did certificate carry 21st May 2020. What's that? So
I'm sorry about this.
So our first company registration was a sole proprietorship, and it carries 21st May 2008. Prior to that, of course, we've done several businesses. Some failed, some ended by the roadside. But at May 2008, two major businesses we were big into one was a foundation where we were working with orphans. We used to organize several events. In fact, that used to be bigger than the for-profit business because it was a non-profit that was very big. We usually had events. I remember one of our biggest events is called Mentor and Orphan. We'll bring orphans from orphanages to Silverberg Galleria. Then it was Silverberg Galleria that was the biggest location. And invite successful celebrities to come mentor them, spend the whole day. We'll pay for movie, we'll pay for lunch, we'll pay for popcorn and all of that, transportation to move them from different orphanages. Sometimes we're bringing people from 7 orphanages across the entire Southwest. And then the for-profit business then was Bulk SMS. We used to sell bulk SMS, 75 kobo per unit, 1 naira per unit. So, and that one started with just 1,000 naira. We had a fellowship. They wanted to do a conference, and they gave us 700 naira. Then I added 300 naira to it. So those were the businesses we had. But at some point, I got frustrated with our NGO, because I remember people will promise us heaven and earth, we'll plan big programs, nobody shows up, we're running into debt. So I said to myself, enough of this frustration, why not build my own business, and profit from those business, or what out of that business we can then do charity project. And we're grateful to God today, because that's really what we do. So you may not hear much about for non-profit, but we're doing amazing stuff, and I think the CEO will soon talk to us about that. Amazing stuff. Even for this anniversary alone, we're giving away 16 million in grants to small businesses. I think one of the awardees on that way here, maybe you interview her. So we are now able to do a lot with our foundation. I think I will argue that maybe we're not making enough noise about it. Well, I hope the CEO will work on that. But I think the reason why maybe we're not loud about it is because it's privately funded from what we do in terms of course, we get few friends who donate here and there, but we're passionate about educating people. Our educational program has seen over 10,000 kids that we have paid their tuition fee in the entire 16 years lifetime. And on a yearly basis, we have hundreds that were involved in working with time to time. Occasionally, I get report cards of, in fact, there was a particular one that is dear to me. So I went to one of our estates, and I saw this young man, I think he probably was 11 years old. So he was doing carpentry work. And I said, this is child labor. I mean, we travel all over the world, and we know we go get away with a lot of things here. So I immediately approached the carpenter, who was a subcontractor, and said, why are you having a child, work with you? He said, well, he's the son of my sister. The husband had died. My sister asked me to, at least let him have a skill, because she couldn't afford to pay school fees. And I looked at her, I said, go and tell the mother, from today to whatever level, I'm responsible for his tuition. And we're able to get him uniform, enrolled him in school. I think his first report card was showing D's and F or something. Right, and so last report card, and that's why it's exciting for me, all I saw was A's and I think few B's. Right. I think A's and few B's, right? So even the B's were no more than maybe 2 or so. The rest were A's. And that shows improvement, and who knows what that guy will become, right? Who knows? So for me, entrepreneurship, and that's why I keep gerents, whether those in public service, whether, just private people. We need to stop this hatred for companies. When companies become big, there's just a natural hatred. I remember I was granted an interview, and then some clips were posted on my social media. And then you need to see someone attack and say, don't mind them, politicians, they are now on TV talking rubbish. So I had to reply, I said, did you even Google my name? I've never been in public service, right? I've never even taken government contract in my life before. So because I dress in agbada and I had a particular